Hello and welcome to episode 187 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, the Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter. But nothing gets posted anymore, does it, lads? But we are still there, so follow them.
We are still there. Yeah, slight dig there. The energy price cap has gone up this month, and in his big hoodie and coat is Jack Williams.
Hi, everybody. Times are hard, aren't they? Can't afford the electricity to run Twitter. That's why I haven't put anything out there.
And you say that, well, in his T-shirt after the energy price hike is Dan Bayliss.
Well insulated house. That's all it is.
Insulate Britain.
Insulate my back room.
Yeah.
Hello,
right, let's start with. I think I wanted to talk a little bit about the international break, but I think maybe talk about it in the context of Wolves v Villa, Harry, because we had two England defenders on the pitch. They both had minutes, both started games.
Kilman and Cody.
Tyrone Mings, Connor Cody, tale of two defenders, certainly on the day. Just what were your thoughts on those two displays?
I'm just going to concentrate on Mings, to be honest, because I thought he was quite funny at times. The song was brilliant. If Mings can play for England, so can I. I thought that was a brilliant song from the South Bank. And if Fabio Silva's out muscling you and making you look silly, and he did, didn't he, on that one chance, I think you probably shouldn't be an England international, although Fabio Silva was good on the day, so that's kind of a backhanded compliment. But yeah, Mings was terrible, and Kilman was the best out of the three for me. Kilman was better than Cody and Mings, so I don't know how he's not in the England squad. And I said somewhere the other day, Mings has got a body like a Lamborghini, but he's got an engine like a little Nissan Micra, hasn't he? Like, he's got all the show, he's got the ability, the body for it, but his brain is just not very good. He's not a very good footballer, unfortunately for him. I don't know how he plays for England.
Jack, I think those eyes were on Fabio Silva. We never really know which Fabio Silva was going to turn up. He was starting a game rather than finishing one this time round, but I thought his performance was absolutely superb.
Oh, yeah, he actually... There's quite a few players on the day I think stood up and were counted who've had criticism in the past. Players like Fabio, Marcel, Dendoncker all played really well. But it was Fabio was a bit like prime Jimenez when he was some of his hold-up plays. Just a real shame that he couldn't get that goal as well, because that really helped his confidence. And the one thing I will say quickly is just going back to the Mings thing. When they started singing that chant, do you notice that? Do you remember that pass that then he just immediately played to nobody? Because you could tell it got to him straight away, didn't it? Because he then just played a pass out to the left-hand side, straight to one of our players. So he definitely got in his head and didn't help. But also, yeah, if a player, a 19-year-old player like Fabio Silva, just absolutely mugs you off and really should have done better with the chance for that one he had where he did over Mings, then it's not going to do you confidence at all. And I think it got to him and we got in his head, really. So, but overall, a really good performance, wasn't it? So you got to be happy with that. We came out the blocks. I was a little bit worried, to be honest, going into the game. Obviously, got a few players out, missing Neves, missing Jimenez. Tough game. Villa only one place below us in the table, albeit 10 points, but we dealt with it really professionally. By far the better team. The only criticism is, yet again, we didn't score more goals, and somehow, due to a refereeing decision, we're holding on for a few minutes at the end, really. But it was quite an accomplished display, really, and I wasn't really expecting it to just play quite as well as we did, so I was really pleased.
Really, really lucky at the end, though, Dan, I thought, because actually if Matt Cash goes either side of Jose Sarr, that is a 95th minute equaliser for Villa.
Yeah, probably is, but it doesn't, if your granny had wheels, she'd be a bicycle sort of stuff, isn't it? I thought we were superb. It was, Jack's fetching the cat. That cat out. I thought we played fantastically well. It should have been 3, if not 4 at half time, really. On balance, we absolutely battered them for a 2-1 win. So I think you've got to take the positives. I thought the way we set up and the way we played, as Jack said, I was nervous going into the game. I thought, we're going to be that great of late, and Villa, you don't know which team's going to turn up, especially with Coutinho scoring a few. I don't remember being on the pitch, to be perfectly honest. Let's stick about the game let's talk about the good things before we go on to the penalty. We played the wing-back football that we should be playing. And I think you've got to admit that. The way Johnny played his game was utterly brilliant. That's how a wing-back should play football.
And so you're saying that Marcel didn't contribute to the second goal?
I thought Marcel played pretty well. He had a couple of dodgy moments, didn't he, Marcel? I think he made a couple of wayward passes that sort of put us in trouble a little bit. Otherwise, reasonably good performance. Not too much to moan about other than a couple of dodgy passes. But Johnny, Jesus wept. For a bloke that's got about 8 knees now, genius. Absolutely brilliant. Actually, might as well be the way he played. And there were a couple of there were quite a few bright things to take from that game. Fabio, absolutely brilliant. Thought Trincao played really well. So the players that have been under some criticism or possibly haven't shown their full potential yet this year really did. So it'd be great to see in these last few games if they can cement themselves a place and do something a bit special, because as you said, Sam, the goals are the only thing that are lacking. And if Trincao and Silva can just grab a couple each before the end of the season, it might be looking pretty good.
Harry, we're starting to see flashes of the 37, 38 million pounds that we paid for Fabio Silva. Because like Jack said, they were almost seeing bits of Raul's game. And obviously, having played with him for the last 18 months or so, it's starting to pay dividends.
Yeah, well, going into the game, as Jack mentioned a minute ago, with no Raul and no Neves, the team lineup was exactly what I wanted. I think he had to start Fabio, didn't he? Because I know there was murmurs of people thinking he might put Hwang for the middle again, like he did against Palace, but that didn't work. So I was happy with the team. And Fabio, yeah, all-round performance was excellent. Just as Bailey said, he's just missing the goal. And that one strike he had for, I think it was was it second half for the long ranger? And he had to tip it over the bar. Obviously, he should have scored his chance when he went through Mings, but his hold-up play, his effort, like he was chasing everything down. And to be honest, it was a better performance than Raul's been putting in lately. It's got to be said. So definitely. I think he deserves to stay there, and I think he's took his chance well. And I was really happy with that starting lineup. After the way Trincao played against Leeds, he deserved to start, and I thought he did well again. Podence did well, but I'm going to keep saying this. I hate the fact he keeps diving on the floor and pretending he's shot. He's got to stop doing that. It's so frustrating to having your team and the players like that. But Dendoncker, got to give him a shout, because although Moutinho was probably man of the match, Dendoncker next to him had one of his best performances of the season. I know he missed that one towards the end of the first half. Like, you got one of us having a shot with our left foot.
He can't finish. He cannot finish.
You can't deny the laddie's performance. He was everywhere. Worked so hard, great on the ball, and did his role really well. So fair play. And I think it was time, which we discussed last podcast we did about 2 months ago, it was time for Sace to be dropped too, because as Jack mentioned, since AFCON, he's been poor. And with Bolly, Cody Kilman, it feels good. And Kilman is a monster.
The one thing I would say...
Back to his best. Go on, Dan.
No, it was just... We're talking about these really good performances, and they are great things to talk about. When you're playing well and you've got a team under the cosh, it's probably a little bit easier to do that. And I thought Villa didn't know what they were doing first half, did they?
No, poor.
They looked... If that had been a Wolves performance, they'd have been booing, and it would have been nasty, because they were completely at sea, which is great to see. You know, we're never going to moan about that, but it is easier to play with that bit of confidence that you think you're going forward and might score every 5 minutes. And with the run we've got coming up, I just want to see us do that at Newcastle. Just go and have a go at them. And it worries me. They got absolutely smashed, didn't they? When was it? Last night or not?
Sunday.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's one of them. Like Trincao, that's his first proper flash in the pan. Do you think that is him having a good game, or do you think he's shown us the player he can be?
It's had 2 good games.
Well, apparently the other week they said they're not going to take up the option to buy him. So whether they've changed their mind these last 2 performances, maybe he saw that and just thought,
Harry,
right, I better pull my finger out.
Harry, that's fish wrapping.
Well, that's the rumour. And to be honest, with how he's played in every other single game apart from the last 2, or maybe one other, he's been awful. So I can see what that being the truth. But they might change their mind now. But I still don't think he's worth as much as Adama. I wouldn't want that to be a swap deal, but that's probably what will happen if we do get him. I just want to say as well, I thought the atmosphere was incredible. I know it's a derby against Villa, and it helped the way we played first half, but it was the best atmosphere all season, really. And the South Bank felt like the South Bank of old. And it was. Oh, and another thing, we've got to mention it. The 2 slips. How ironic is it? Steven Gerrard is their manager, and then McGinn slips, and is it Conser, the other centre half? He slips for the first goal. I just thought that was really funny, that the way we went 1-0 up with 2 slips from the.
Did you see the Villa fan tweet on? Obviously,
no.
Saying Wolves purposely watered the pitch and had long studs on. And it's just like, really, that's what you're resorting to, isn't it?
Is that what it comes to? Jack, were you going to say something?
No, I'm still smiling because I'd forgotten about that Dendoncker chance until Harry reminded me, and it was just actually hilarious, wasn't it? Because if you watch that move back, it was such a great move because it was like really good counter-attacking football. It was about a minute into added time at the end of the first half. Could have really, really killed the game, and it just gets played out to him, a great ball. And I don't know where it went, but I think it basically smacked
Maybe
into
it's
the
us.
middle of the north. I was going to say, but it's just a shame he just can't finish, can he? Bless him. But there was some really, really great football like that. I think the other thing we do have to think about, though, is obviously it was great to get the win, but it seems very similar to the Leeds game, or the last 2 home games we've had against Villa and Leeds, is there's been a refereeing decision in the game which has been dubious at best.
It's a VAR one though as well, isn't it? And that's the problem.
It cost us against Leeds, and it could have cost us 2 points again on Saturday. We're just happy that obviously Matty Cash's volley in like virtually the last kick of the game, just when Sarr managed to get out to it and save it. Because otherwise, if that game finishes 2-2, we'd be asking ourselves again, how was this game finished 2-2? Because really, it should have been 4-1. 4-1, we should have won that game comfortably. It should have been over at half time if we'd taken our chances. And again, is there kind of a bit of a thing like when a team's 2-0 down, the refs sort of try and give them something to get back into the game? Because that's kind of what it seems like it's happening as well.
I can't understand how. Yes, he got the ball first, but the only way he was getting that ball was by going straight through.
It was so similar to the Raul and Meslier one, wasn't it? Where it's just the other way around, weirdly, where yes, Watkins got the ball, but then he clatters Sarr, But at the time, I must admit, when I was sat in the North Bank at the time, I thought it was a penalty. But watching it back, I'm like, nah. But by the letter of the law, they probably will say it's a penalty. But if you use common sense and look at it, he's got to the ball yet, then he's just chuck Sarr out.
If that's the case, and they are setting the precedent that if you get to the ball first, you win the penalty.
Yeah,
there's going to be some really bad injuries. There's going to be some really nasty.
Well, look at Meslier. He got the ball, but then he just clatters into Raul, and then they give the Raul gets penalised. So
is it like a rule now that if you get the ball, you can just do what you want after? Like
you just jump into someone.
If that's the thing, because that's what people are going to start doing. Just get a toe on it, and then they can, like Dan says, just injure people. But I actually disagree, because from where I was stood straight away, Harry, I was like, nah.
To be fair, I remember you turning around to me. Saying that's not a penalty, and I was thinking, because all I remember is them like colliding. I didn't really see it properly.
There's nothing wrong with both players going for the ball there. There's not a lot in it, and
it's a contact sport.
Watkins' touch sticks out for a goal kick. They're both smashed into each other going for the ball. Cheers, goal kick.
If anything, Sarr's waiting for it a little bit, isn't he? He's waiting for it.
He was about to scoop up the ball, wasn't he?
The contact is definitely initiated by the attacking player. Yeah. And he knows he's looking for it. That's what he's trying to do. But he actually clattered into him, and it's not a penalty. And then after that, the referee just lost control of the game a little bit, I thought.
Oh, he was terrible.
Do you know what? If we hadn't won, there would have been way more comment about it. It's only because we won, it's not really been said. That's the worst refereeing I've seen this year.
Yeah, it was Darren England.
Darren England, is that his name?
Yeah, well, mate, shocking, man.
Go and get another job, because you've got no idea how to control a football game.
Every week we're saying this now, though, isn't it? Every week we're on about the refs.
It's the best league in the world with the worst.
And do you know what the problem is? Is they are such an arrogant bunch of bastards. They think they've done a good job. That Pratt Gallagher will sit on Sky Sports and go, "Oh, wonderful. Oh, he's right." And there are millions of people going, "You're talking nonsense." So there's literally a sect of a load of absolute idiots. I was going to say something stronger then, but I won't. Won't be too defamatory on live YouTube.
To be fair, I think
staggering.
Yeah, I think
they're morons. They're absolute morons.
In Gallagher's defence, in Gallagher's defence, I think he's actually come out and said the decisions were wrong. It's Peter Walton, the one who Peter Walton's the one on BT Sport who always just goes along with what they say.
Just on Watkins, obviously scored the penalty. If he scores that chance on about the 50th minute, remember when he put it wide, and then the other one, it's a completely different game. And like you say, first half, Ashley Young's own goal, we needed that because we couldn't. It was a comical, obviously, great balling by Marcel, but we just can't put our chances away, can we? So we needed that second goal cushion, but still. Like we mentioned with the 2-0, the nerves around the stadium because we had the Leeds game in the back of our mind. God, if Watkins scores that, and Jose Sarr on the day, Jose Sarr, 5 saves he pulled off. Like he pretty much won us the game, Jose Sarr.
But Harry, these nerves, this all comes back to the referee as well. He didn't control it. There was 2 bust-ups in the game where he had no idea what to do.
Yeah,
it's
just booked a few, didn't he?
The one that I remember is when it's after they'd got the goal back and Hwang's got the ball and he's running out from sort of the middle of our half and they have about 3 nibbles at him. It's like foul. And then the ball gets away from him, he slides in and they give them a free kick. And we're like, there's 3 fouls in there before that's happened. And you've penalised us. And that's kind of sort of what got the crowd sort of rolled up because it was just ridiculous. It was like, there's 3 fouls in there on Hwang and you've penalised him. for something that's happened after those three things have taken place. And
He should have scored as well.
he should have scored. That was
yeah.
probably a copy of Watkins' chance, really. It was about the same distance away, wasn't it? And that would have sealed the game because it would have been 3-0 then.
Yeah.
But again, it's good that we're creating these chances. But man, if we were clinical,
3 or 4.
3 or 4, and we had the same amount against Leeds as well, and even the red card wouldn't have helped us. Wouldn't have screwed us over. But I just got this horrible feeling now. We're going to look back at that Leeds game, especially because it's quite near the end of the season, and we're going to miss out on European football by 1/2 points, and we're going to be like, well, that's where those points are, because dropping 5 points against Leeds from winning positions is just terrible, because they were rubbish. Villa were pretty rubbish as well.
Did you just on you saying that, Jack? I saw this on, I think it's on We Are Wolves. This Simon Longley put, if only we hadn't conceded a 94th minute goal at Leeds, we'd got wins against Norwich and Burnley rather than 0-0 draws. We'd not conceded in the 95th minute to Arsenal and had scored an equaliser against their 10 men. We'd held on 2-0 against Leeds, even with 10 men. Then we'd have 11 more points to be third in the league. Still a good season for Wolves, but it could have been a great season.
Yeah, what about
Liverpool 94?
Yeah, there's a few more.
There's a few things you point to where we've dropped points late on and thrown it away. I mean, that was just another referee masterclass, wasn't it? We can't say it wasn't handball, even though we can see it wasn't, just in case it was. Fuck off. Like, so,
was there a man of the match in there, Harry?
It's got to be Moutinho. I mean, that bloke. I hope he signs a new contract. He was finished running in pre-season, but now Coutinho was Coutinho on the pitch. He just our midfield on the day just made their midfield look terrible.
Dendoncker was all over Coutinho.
And the others. Was it Bailey and is it Rams? Someone Ramsdale?
They were raving about that Bailey the first half of the season, weren't they? And I thought he was bloody terrible.
He had that long range shot, didn't he? Where good save from Sarr, but
yeah. And Wendy, they think's absolutely.
He came on and did all right. He did
all right, but he didn't do too much, did he?
No.
Man of the match, Jack.
I would have said Fabio Silva if he'd scored 100%. You know what? I'm not going to be harsh. I'm going to say him anyway because he was very, very good.
Bayliss.
I think this weekend proved that two best wing backs in the league are Doherty and Johnny, so it's Johnny.
do you think? I agree that you can't really drop Johnny because he's obviously been superb since he came back and scored 2 goals, which I know Dan loves from a wing back. You think he could play Semedo and Johnny in the same team?
Johnny on the left wing back, maybe. Do you think he dropped Ait-Nouri because of his mistake against Leeds? I think that's why he started Marcel.
Possibly, yeah.
No, I think it's always tactical with them. I think Bruno just he plays it whether he wants it to be more defence minded or more attack minded.
The problem we've got is you can't drop Johnny unless he's not fit, and he creates so much going forward that it changed how Wolves played their football Saturday against the team that sit one place behind us.
Bloody good finish as well.
Yeah,
great finish. Striker's finish.
Foot like a traction engine.
Considering obviously, was Podence saved or blocked, and then Fabio has the follow up, and he hits that straight at one of the defenders, and then
can you be sent off after the event in those situations? Because he definitely just dives out, both hands up, the Villa player.
Is he?
I don't know where it hit him. If you look at it,
you think it might have been handball if it wasn't a goal?
I saw it in real time.
I think it hit the chest, didn't it? Yeah,
I didn't notice that, to be honest.
Going home on the train was very eventful. We thought, we'll just go for a beer in Birmingham. Me and Jack couldn't get on the train. It was like sardines. So wait for the next one. And then all of a sudden, we're stopping at Smethwick, and no one knows why. Bayliss, you'd left slightly earlier and got a slightly earlier train.
Oh, I got so lucky. So ridiculously lucky. I booked the 5:45 from Wolverhampton back to London. And then I got to the station a little bit early and I thought, it's kicking off a little bit here and the Villa fans are a bit shitty. I'll look on my app and see what the quickest way back is. It was to go up to Stafford and then back down again without going through the middle of Birmingham.
Did you see any troubles to Bayliss? Was any fighting when you
Yeah, on the platforms, yeah.
So that's why the trains were delayed then, was it fighting, was it?
No, it was on the train though.
So,
right.
This would have been the train that Sam and I actually couldn't get on because it was rammed. It was the train that left a few minutes before the one we get on, and it was like sardines. And we ended up being stuck at Smethwick, and they said there's an issue on the train in front. And what I think happened is somebody pulled the emergency cable, whether it's for fighting or whatever, I'm not quite sure. They couldn't then move the train because the handbrake wouldn't come off. So people opened the doors and started walking down the tracks to get away.
In the gap.
Stuck on it. So that obviously, as soon as there's that sort of level of danger, they have to just shut the railway until it's all sorted, and that's why there was delay for hours. Look, it's lucky I was at Smedic because I managed to get a different train to Snow Hill and get back. Otherwise, I'd have been stuck behind it all as well. And probably
how simple is it? Right? How simple is it? They did it at the station. They sent the Villa fans one way and the Wolves fans the other way. Great, well done, perfect. Bit of chatting on the platform, little bit of argy-bargy, not too bad. And then the coppers go, "Here's a train, crack on." Why not just split the train in half, put 2 coppers in the door, and just keep them one end and the other? They're idiots. They're morons. It's worse than referees. We're being run by
VAR. Get the VAR on the train.
We've got the greatest sport in the greatest competition in the world.
I think the
being run and managed by absolute idiots. Yeah, I'll shut up now.
We are due to have a guest from NUFC, True Faith.
You got
podcast,
a translator,
and have you got family by marriage in Newcastle, haven't you?
Yeah, I can't stand a bloody word though.
Yeah, I thought you said you can't stand them. So he'll be there, hopefully here imminently. But we may.
Yeah, he's waiting. He's waiting.
Oh,
if you want to
well, let's bring him in. Norm,
Newcastle.
Norm is here.
Yeah, here he comes.
NUFC True Faith.
There he is.
Hello, Norm.
Hello, mate. I heard you say translator, you cheeky bastard.
There you go. Bayliss is very, very, very embarrassed.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Shame on you, pal. Shame on
Bayless,
you.
We've got the worst accents in the country. We can't say anything.
You know what? I love it. I mean, I'm saying it's what you've got a Wolverhampton accent, I guess, but I love a Brummie accent. I was going to say that. Now I just feel like I need to say the whole city's got a terrible accent because of you. I'm outraged.
We have.
Norm, I don't think we've spoken since the takeover, and I think that's probably a good place to start. I know you were quite vocal. Had you written a BBC article, or you'd contributed to a BBC article around the potential takeover by the Saudis, saying that it was potentially a little bit difficult for you because you were torn between people paying or having 0 hours contracts, and then places where they murder Saudi journalists, and you didn't know which one you were going to go for. But which one did you go for in the end?
Which one did I go for? Well, I'm still getting the matches, so I'm clearly a corrupt and a deplorable human being, aren't I? I did an interview with the Independent with Miguel Delaney, who is a bit of a problematic journalist in many respects. We won't go into that. However, I did an interview and I was honest, and I'm still honest now. The fact is that obviously we are owned by PIF, which is part of the Saudi government, and it engages in what you would call, morally reprehensible behaviour, absolutely. And as a football fan, as someone who's completely aware of that, it's a difficult thing to level up. But at the same time, when you've been supporting your football club for 40 years, everything that's connected with it, your community, your family, part of your identity, part of your fabric as a person, the social fabric of the city, to walk away from it is very, very difficult. So right now I'm still going to football matches, and I guess that just, as I said,
that cross your mind? Did that cross your mind then? Were you seriously thinking about potentially not going? That was something that had crossed your mind?
It still plays on my mind on a daily basis, mate. To be honest with you, it's a conflict that I have regularly. That's not me assessing how every other single Newcastle United supporter feels about the takeover, but on a personal level, I do find it difficult to marry it up because you don't hear anything, obviously, in the press for quite a while, and then you maybe get a story about Yemen. Obviously, at the minute, we're getting stories about Ukraine on a daily basis, but we don't get to hear much about Yemen, and we know what's going on over there. But it's easy to practice a sort of moral disengagement when you're not being fed that particular news, right? And then 4 weeks ago, obviously, there's a news article saying that the Saudis have executed 81 people in a day. Those kind of incidents do make you think, and they do kind of reignite the feeling of ill-ease that you have. But then 2 days later, you've got a football match and your mates are messaging you in WhatsApp and saying which pub we're meeting in, where we're going, and you forget about it all. You put it on the back burner, you ignore it. As I say, you practice a form of sort of moral disengagement. And I'd be very surprised if there are many football fans out there whose clubs, especially in the Premier League, don't have problematic owners and probably do that themselves. Obviously, with Newcastle, yes, it's magnified because it is the Saudi Arabian government ultimately, and there aren't many entities out there that behave quite as bad, I guess.
What's the feeling among the other True Faith guys? Are they similar guys to you? Are they more forgiving? Are they crack on, let's carry on, keep calm, carry on, that sort of thing, or is everybody sort of on the same page as you?
I won't comment any further on that. I think that people have their own inner conflicts. People have their own means of justification. People love the football club, so everyone has a slightly different take, I guess. So you'd have to ask them, I'm afraid. God, this feels like being in court. It's great.
In general, do you still get a lot of comments from the fans, or is it starting to die off? Do you think it's sort of becoming more acceptable now, or more accepted?
From what you're talking from our own fans, question in it, or
yeah. No, from your own fans, is it sort of starting to disappear into the ether of, well, we're getting better and the football's good, so we can sort of ignore it, or is it still on the tips of everyone's tongue? Are you discussing it a lot on the podcast?
Not really. No, I think it's come up, but if in general, I suppose if you look at social media and the articles produced by all the various fan websites, that on the whole the takeover has been seen positively. And if you look at it from the perspective of a poll carried out by the NUFC Supporters Trust, I think above 95% said they welcomed the takeover. So there's never been a case where I think you've had a gigantic voice saying that we are deeply uncomfortable with this. It's always been a very, 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 very small minority. And on the whole, people have just engaged with the positive aspects of the football club being taken over and the football club heading in the right direction. And as I say, some people might engage in moral gymnastics. I certainly do. I know I do. Some people just don't care. Some people ignore it. Some people don't engage with it. And that's what it is. There's a lot of football fans supporting Newcastle United. So I would say each one of them has a different opinion. And ultimately, the takeover, it appears, has been viewed very positively.
And you've had quite a big transfer window. If we look at January, how do you think that has gone, and how are those players performing at the moment? And do you think any of them will start on Friday? And if so, which are the danger men?
It was a brilliant transfer window. The squad improved dramatically with the 5 incoming players. Obviously, I suppose you would say the marquee signing was Kieran Trippier, who's a player that I think would walk into most Premier League teams. He just won the La Liga with Atletico Madrid. He would probably be playing in the quarterfinals of the Champions League tonight if he'd stayed there. He is a player, even though he's 31. You could argue he's coming towards the end of his career as a very top player, but he's still brilliant. And we saw that right when he started. I mean, the difference is incredible. The level between the Newcastle players and him, the moment you saw him on the pitch, you can just tell. It's been a long time since we've seen a player of that much ability. And when you do see them, you're like, oh wow, now I can see why we haven't had a player like this in our team for a long time, because
it was the leadership quality as well, wasn't it? The leadership 100%. Quality that he brought, and sort of actually, was it an FA Cup tie where you went out and he was going over to the fans and telling everybody else to go over there and applaud as well?
Spot on. That was against Cambridge and we lost 1-0. That was a great day. And also he was made captain before he got injured. He banged in a couple of free kicks. He organises the defence. He's a talking head on the pitch, and how I guess understands that someone like Trippier as a player you can give the instructions to then disseminate to the rest of the players. We've missed a player like Trippier in games like Chelsea, a game that we didn't deserve to lose. And I would argue if he was on the pitch, or someone like Callum Wilson, for example, we probably would have got something. I would say the same way against Everton. I mean, Everton are the worst side I've seen in a long time, and losing to them was a terrible result. And I think, again, with someone like Trippier or Callum Wilson on the pitch, we probably wouldn't have done. The other signings, Matt Targett's been a great surprise, almost to the point where you're thinking, why did Steven Gerrard sign Lucas Digne? And it's almost like, well, he's signing because Lucas Digne is more of a kind of Hollywood fullback, whereas I think Targett just is a kind of get on with it, and he puts in a decent cross. Dan Burns has been excellent the last couple of games. He's been a bit wobbly, but you get what you pay for, right? We're a team in a relegation battle. We've gone out and bought Dan Burn, and we brought in Chris Wood. People laugh at the fact he's 25 million. Well, look, this is the Premier League. We've taken Wood from Burnley. He's a player who's helped them stay in the Premier League for 3 or 4 years. And since he signed, we've picked up 20 points in, I think, something like, 12 games or something along those lines. So even though he hasn't scored, even though he's had a couple of poor games, the team has still improved. And these players have been brought in, other than Trippier and Bruno, who I'll go on to, they've been brought in with a specific job to do, with that is to keep us up. And it looks like that's what they're doing. So they've been a success in my eyes. But in terms of the game on Friday, Trippier's injured, so he won't be playing. The one to look out for if he starts is Bruno Guimaraes, who is just he's a phenomenal player. You can tell he's going to be a brilliant player. If he's managed properly and he's given a couple of quality players around him, I think we can go on and see him be one of the better midfielders in the country. I think that's don't think that's an exaggeration. I mean, he played for Brazil a couple of times last week. He scored. You know, if you're starting for Brazil, maybe you can ignore Fred here, but if you're starting for Brazil, you're a half decent player, right? So he's the one I would look out for. But honestly, lads, the form that we showed against Spurs, I'm very concerned about this game against you lot on Friday.
And Norm, before we go on to results and where we're going, how worried were you when they took over and you were in that relegation zone? Do you think it was just a perfect storm, or was it? You knew did you know this was coming? Did you know January was going to happen, or was everyone?
It was almost hanging on for January, isn't it? It's like, just if we can get to January, then potentially then the floodgates can open in terms of expenses. But that's what it seemed like to me. And then, like you say, ever since it's been not plain sailing, because obviously there's been those.
I want to know, because honestly, if that had been us, the fans would have lost their heads.
Oh yeah, it would have been. We're down.
Absolutely lost their heads.
Have you been talking to Ralph Hassan, lads, by the way, about the wait until the January transfer window comes and just postponing games using COVID as an excuse? Because that's obviously definitely what happened. Look, I think for us, the difference with us and you is that obviously you had a few years in the doldrums, right? And then you had the takeover. You had Nuno come in, Premier League, 2 7th place finishes, establishing yourself, getting into Europe. You've brought in Laja, who has done, from an outsider looking in, an absolutely incredible job. I really like the team that he set up. I love the players that you've got. I'm kind of a lot of admiration actually for how Wolves are running things at the minute. You lads may tell me otherwise, obviously watching them week in, week out. But you have been on, I suppose, an upward trajectory for years, despite the kind of lull you had last season under Nuno. Whereas we have just had 14 years of Mike Ashley and the takeover coming in, the goodwill generated by the takeover, and I guess fans knowing that the money was going to be allowed to lay out at some point. It almost eased the panic. It's like, right, we're in a relegation battle. Worst case scenario, we get relegated. The likelihood is, with the financial backing we've got, and the cliche, the championship's really difficult to get out of. We know it is. We've been relegated twice to the championship under Mike Ashley. We came back up as champions twice. So going down under this lot, it didn't really hold any fears. It may have delayed, the overall master plan for world domination. It may have delayed that for a year. But I don't think we were massively concerned. However, it did get to the stage where we beat Burnley 1-0 at home, which was Howe's first win. And then December, a few bad results off the spin, and we were really struggling. And at that point, you're thinking, well, it's going to take a miraculous turnaround. Nobody has been in this position at this moment in time and survived. And yet Howe's gone ahead and done it. And we've been sensible with the signings, right? You start getting linked with players in the BBC gossip column in at the beginning of December. And we were being linked with some ridiculous signings. And it's like, no, these aren't the players we need. Put it this way, bringing in Philip Coutinho and Luca Digne would have been a mistake for us. They're the killing players that we didn't need right now. And the club have been very clever. Howe's been very clever in who they've brought in. And the moment we beat Leeds away 1-0, which is only our second win of the season, you just saw a kind of togetherness, a plan, and I suppose a desire. And it's been the same since. That 9-game unbeaten run's been fantastic. And look, as I say, we're struggling a bit now, but 2 more wins on the board. We avoid relegation. That's job done, and it's time to move on.
And the Wolves fans going to hear it first then. Is this the start of world domination? Are you the next City?
Oh, God knows. I mean, I just like saying world domination because it sounds funny, right? I think, look, the really cliched football answer. Let's just get this season out the way and see where we head. Look, we've done some very sensible things so far. Bringing Dan Ashworth, I think, is a master stroke. He has more or less revolutionised, right? Personally, what do I want to see? I want to see us set up an academy that's as good as either Arsenal's or Chelsea's. I'd love to see, a team in 5 years' time that has got 5 or 6 players from the academy who are superb, good enough to get with challenging for the Champions League. But look, we just have to avoid relegation, as I say, this season. And next season, finishing, and I don't think this is unrealistic, finishing 7th or 8th would be fantastic. You look at, no disrespect to you lads, but I look at you like you don't go out and spend millions of pounds. Millions and millions and millions of pounds. West Ham have done fantastically well. Leicester have done fantastically well. I don't think there's any reason that if we bring in 4 or 5 quality signings, we can't get to that level within one season, and then we'll just take it from there. Sorry if that's a disappointingly boring answer.
I want fireworks.
We've got the clip of world domination. We use that. Let's have a look at a score prediction.
That's right. Yeah. Fake news, right? The Geordies on saying world domination again. That's all right. Send them my way on Twitter. That's fine. So score prediction. You know what? You are playing very well at the moment. 3 wins in your last 4. The Leeds game was a bit of an anomaly. I mean, if you score first, it's almost impossible to beat unless you have someone sent off, obviously. So, you know what? we need to get something out of this. I'm going to say we'll take the lead, but you'll equalise. So one's each from me, lads.
Brilliant.
One each. Harry, score prediction?
Do you know, I'm going to go 1-1. It seems to be 1-1 a lot, doesn't it, between Wolves and Newcastle over the years? So I'll go 1-1.
The default score, yeah.
That's it, yeah. Bayliss?
I fancy a Desmond.
2-2.
Let's go in draws.
Jack?
I'll be honest, I was really worried about this fixture until because obviously there's no doubt you guys have improved massively, obviously since January, until I watched the Spurs game on Sunday. So then I was watching this and thinking, God, some of the defending can show here. So I'm a bit more confident now, and I'll say I think it'll be close. They're always closer than you think, these games. So I think I'll go 2-1 Wolves, but it would have been different if I hadn't sat through and watched the Spurs game on Sunday. I think this is maybe giving me a bit more hope.
Norm, I take it you're going on Friday?
Well, I am, but I've just tested positive for COVID, so let's see.
No.
I know, absolutely devastating. I've got a ticket, I've got my train tickets booked, etc. But no, I was at Spurs, and that was catastrophically bad, absolutely terrible. But I'm just hoping that Neves has a good year on Friday, so it kind of opens the eyes of viewers and think, oh, it could be good for us, couldn't it?
In the shop window now, isn't it?
He's injured.
Good job he's injured. Yeah, playing, thankfully.
I hope he's good cracking the ball then. Maybe he's the ball.
Well, look, we'll say goodbye to Norm. Norm, thanks for joining us and answering those.
Cheers,
Thank you.
All the best, lads. I hope he's getting to you. I hope he's getting to Europe. Anyways, Wolves are a cracking club, and I really like what you're doing. So all the best.
We'll be playing Espanyol when you're playing Barcelona.
Perfect.
That's Norm there from NUFC True Faith. I know you've done your score predictions, but Harry, after sort of what the mood is like at St James Park now, with everything rumbling on in the background, but purely in football terms, are you looking forward to this one, given what we saw at the weekend, both from a Wolves perspective and a Newcastle one as well?
I've got to agree with what Jack just said. Like, before Sunday, and I looked at their fixtures they've had lately. They've lost their last 3, and in my head, before I looked into it, I thought they're flying, which they have been, haven't they, since January? Let's be honest, they're pretty much safe now. 2 more wins, like Norm said. But Trippier's injured, and he was like a big player from watching them. I think we can beat them. I know they got like Saint Maximin on the wing, but he's a bit of a Traore. He's a bit hot and cold. Chris Wood's only got 1 goal in 11. I hope I ain't jinxing things here. John Joe Shelby's improved a bit. I know, yeah. John Joe Shelby's improved from a bit in the middle, but I think we can do them. They've shored themselves up at the bit of the back, which is a funny thing to say. They just conceded 5, but that big lad they got, he's from Brighton, when he that burned. I think he's a Geordie lad. But I don't know if it was just a one-off against Spurs, but let's just hope they defend like they did against Spurs, and we can take advantage, because if we get an early goal, we're capable of holding out, and we've got a good away record. I'm
going to jinx it even more. That slaphead racist is not that great a player.
Oh, John Joe Shelby.
Yeah, he ain't that
he
good.
Can be when he wants to be. He's a bit like, I know what you mean. He plods about, doesn't he? But if he's on it, he can be influential.
Be interesting.
After the football that we watched the weekend, there's no way that you couldn't pick Wolves to win that game. But that's not how football works, is it? We've seen it before. So you just don't know. And obviously, some of their players. I mean, Chris Wood likes a goal against us, doesn't he?
He does.
So that's something to worry about. Obviously, the big sort of centre forward that players like Cody don't seem to like playing against. Ex-Villa Matt Target, who just annoys me to look at Matt Target, because he always got a mouth open, isn't he? He's like a gore.
I'll go slot on a Saturday night.
That's it, yeah. Or Saturday morning.
Watching Jack play it right back.
so I don't know really. It's not gonna be a straightforward one. But if you're looking at the big picture, obviously we haven't got a date for the Man City game. I think I said this on the group. Is these next 3 games that we've got are massive. If we actually have any chance of actually really getting European football, we need to be taking at least 7 points, I think, from these next set of fixtures that we've got. So really, we need a result here. At the very minimum, a point, but we need to be really winning it to keep on the pace. Really, after the results and the way they went at the weekend, really, it was annoying, the West Ham one, I thought, because Everton just threw it away after really getting back in the game, getting it to 1 each. They would look the better team and look like they were going to go on and win it, and then they give them a goal and have a red card within 5 minutes, and it's just game over. So that's a bit annoying. I do still think, though, the way it's going, we're fighting just for 7th still. I can't see us getting higher than that, but I'll be very happy with 7th. I think that's great.
I've got to say, since that Leeds loss, And I know we beat Villa, and I didn't even, for the first time, I didn't even look at the table. I just thought to myself, I don't know why I'm not going to get my hopes up for again, because we're just going to get disappointed again. So let's just keep plodding along. I hope Bruno Lage is saying that to the players as well. Just try and pick up points. Don't keep looking at the table, because I feel like when a bit of pressure gets on us, we just bottle it, don't we?
We've bottled it
like
twice already, so
yeah, we need to concentrate on ourselves, like, and just try and yeah. And I hope as well. I've got to say, I really hope Bruno sticks with the same starting 11 as well, and don't.
I was going to say, yeah,
put Kundal in midfield or something. You know what I mean? Like,
and does Nelson Semedo stay on the bench, Harry?
Yeah, look, I mean, I know we joke on, but Johnny can't be dropped. I mean, he's got 2 goals in the last 2 games. He's been brilliant. I'd start the same team. I know we haven't really. Just because we're away from home, he likes to play.
Had the problem, is it?
No, like with the midfielders, obviously Neves unavailable, so he probably won't go with the 5 across midfield anyway. Who would he bring in? Who would he put in there? Kundal? Probably not. No, but I just hope he don't do it, because he likes to do the 5, doesn't he, away from home? Let's go 3-4-3 and let's go at him. We should know how to defend against Spurs.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Just go at him.
Play a kid in midfield and play 3 in the middle against Newcastle after they've just shipped 5. Like, and we've been creating chances like that. I mean, we have to go for it, because we don't want us to end up just having one of those sort of those drab performances like we kind of did at West Ham away, where it's a weird team selection and then we just threw it away. Because again, that's another game that could cost us, because we gave them 3 points when realistically, even a draw then would obviously take 2 points off their total right now. So we need to just be ruthless now and go for it. But like these next 3 games here, because bear in mind, we're still going to play the top 3. It's a very difficult run-in. But these next 3 games, away at Newcastle and then away at Burnley, home to Brighton, like we've got to be taking our points from these 3. If we end up with 2 points out of them, then it's done. We'll probably finish 8th in it. But if we can get 7 or 9, it gives us a chance. I still think we're going to have to beat one of the big boys to get 7th, even to get 7th. And looking at it, I think we could have a chance against Chelsea. Obviously, the other 2 are on a different level, so you just got to sort of just see what happens, really. But we were lucky against both of them. There's no reason why we couldn't scramble a point potentially. But yeah, these next 3 games are massive now, and starting on Friday, there's no reason why we shouldn't go out all guns blazing again. We've had a week recovery, and everyone looked on top form. So I'll be really disappointed if we don't go there and get a result now.
Last game of the season as well is going to have, I imagine, something hanging on it, either because Liverpool are in pole position or they're going to need to see a City slip up. Bayliss, for you, is it an unchanged 11?
I think it has to be at this point, doesn't it? So Raul's got one more, hasn't he, to do anyway? But I still stick with Fabio. Yeah. It makes sense.
I'll just say, people are discussing in the comments, Aquatic Rage and like the Wolf and that. Apparently, Saïss and Ait-Nouri are doing Ramadan, so that might be a reason why they've been rested. Because Paul said Ait-Nouri will probably come back in because they always seem to change the left wing backs. But if that's true, and Ramadan's coming up, or it's now, he obviously going to be in the team.
I didn't know that.
Because it's like tough for them, innit? I know they still try and play. Yeah, it's pretty tough to play a bloody Premier League game when you're going through that. So maybe that's the reason. But
what is it? You don't bring up politics or religion. Should leave it at that.
What it is when they're practicing the religion, it's potentially.
Yeah, well, it's going to affect their performance on the pitch. But yeah, maybe that's why Saïss didn't play the other day.
I'm saying no more.
Okay.
Right. Ridiculous. Okay, I will then. Tens of thousands of pounds a week, and they're not going to play the game they're supposed to. Absolutely ridiculous.
Well, they was on the bench, so they can come on, can't they? They're both on the bench. They'll be on the bench again, but they probably won't start.
Play games.
Let's get your latest betting odds and ticket news.
No, you're not having any now.
What's the bet that Stan's just been cancelled?
Right, I've actually got some bets there.
Short.
2-1 Wolves and Johnny to get the first one against 75-1.
Not bad.
And then I went with 2-2. I thought, it's going to be pretty decent odds there.
Yeah.
Fabio Silva to score first. It's only 75-1.
Really?
Yeah. 2-0 Podence, 110-1. And then, as you said his name, Chris Wood. Chris Wood to score first, but Wolves to win 3-1.
Like that.
230-1.
I'll have Wood if that happens.
Speaking of which, Jack, ticket news.
So Friday night, Newcastle, 8 o'clock kickoff, sold out. Good allocation for that as well. Just 3,200 tickets they gave us, which is quite a lot. So there's a really good following going all the way north. A lot of people probably having weekends in Newcastle there. So, that should be a good following and a good atmosphere. So hopefully the boys can get the result. Got ticket information for the away game at Burnley. Quite a small allocation for that one, obviously, because of Burnley's ground
Because of its
size.
shit
So,
stadium.
yeah, basically. It's like going back in time. Only 2,354. It's currently on sale as we speak to the away season ticket holders. And as of tomorrow, it's on the point, started with 1,190. Looking at the home games, then there's very few tickets left for the Brighton home game. And I think that's the only one on sale at the moment, really. Little note to people, if people are trying to get tickets for the England versus the England game that's going on, I did write the date down of that at the moment, but they go on sale mid-April. They have to go through sort of the England sort of supporters club and stuff first, and the general sale is, I'm not sure the date at the moment, but it's the middle of April at some point. So if you want to keep an eye out for that, if you do want to watch England play at Molineux, obviously the Hungary game I think is behind closed doors, isn't it? So it's just the other one.
A shame that with the history of it. But yeah.
Why is it behind closed doors?
Because
What did Hungary do?
racism.
Was it us?
No. It was Hungary.
Yeah, Hungary at their place.
They should just
Why
eat some
don't they
food
just
and
play
they
it
sort
somewhere?
itself out.
You're not you when you're hungry.
Why don't they just play it at some random place then? Why have they picked Molineux and then not allowed any?
Well, if it'd have been anywhere, they'd have been behind closed doors.
Decision made by someone hyping football is going to be wrong, isn't it?
It's
They're
basically
punishing Hungary. So if they'd have played on Mars, they'd have been behind closed doors, obviously.
If they're punishing Hungary, then
There
why
is
don't they
literally
let
no
England
atmosphere on
fans
Mars.
in?
Yeah.
It just so happens that we're playing Hungary that day they're being punished.
it doesn't make any sense.
Football
It's a classic
annoys me.
case, yeah.
Jesus.
It's
Rather
like when
than-
we went to Bratislava and Bratislava, and that was behind closed doors. Same sort of thing, isn't it?
It was,
Yeah, with 25,000 kids.
Yeah, it falls down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Punishing
Absolute
the wrong
steal to
people,
get
isn't it?
in behind those closed doors. Yeah, okay, thank you. That is your latest betting odds and ticket news. Let's talk about transfer rumours because there are some rumours. Harry, you've got them. I think, was it Ruben Neves potentially being touted by Barcelona?
Apparently, why Barcelona trying to nick all our
I wish
players,
they'd
by the
fuck
way?
off.
I know. So
Just, like,
I personally
they can't
think-
afford him, so
I'd love it if he signed a new contract, but I think
I'd
Neves
love
is
it.
going, and I potentially think Moutinho will leave as well.
no.
And I know we're linked with the two lads from Sporting. Is it that Paulinho? I don't even know if I'm
Yeah.
pronouncing it right. We're linked with everyone now from Portugal, aren't we? Because them two
Yes.
look like they're going to be going. But I'd love to keep at least one of them. I mean, I know Moutinho's getting on, but you'd want him for another year, wouldn't you? But I think Neves is gone, to be honest. Unfortunately, I think he'll go.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's
Even
gone.
even if there's European football on the horizon,
Or yeah, maybe, but maybe the injury's done us a favour. Do you know what I
possibly.
mean? Hopefully, teams forget about him and he just signs a new deal. I'm like, completely signed. But yeah, apart from that, and also, sorry, it's not on the transfer topic. I thought it was quite interesting how Bruno Lage came out and singled out how good Chiquinho's attitude's been. Like every time he's come off the bench and like he works like a one-arm bricklayer and gets stuck in. So I thought that was quite good. Is that another dig at Hoover? I don't know, but interesting comment that. So we might be seeing a lot more Chiquinho next season if he carries on.
Especially
Chiquinho.
given how good Silva's been since that Crystal Palace game where he came out and sort of
Yeah.
said, I've got too many kids in my side. There was a video, it's a while ago now, it's before the international break, and we haven't covered it yet, though, when Scott Sellers came out and did a video, didn't he, around how the transfers work. It's a big, long thing. But the thing that caught my ear was when he said, we sit down and if there's a player that Bruno likes, then, we have to like him as well, and then we'll go and do it. And you just think, A, is Bruno in charge of transfers? And B, what the hell has Scott Sellers done to put his vote on the same par as Bruno?
Anyone else?
Discuss.
Yeah, them like, oh, right, yeah. Oh, it's terrible. I remember seeing that and I was like, how's that meant to work? Bruno should be the one who makes the final decisions, but it seemed like the same under Nuno. Oh, we were led to believe Nuno had the last word, but I don't think he did, personally, after hearing this. And the fact that Bruno has to have the okay off Scott Sellers as well, even if Bruno likes a player, is horrendous for me. I don't get it. Is Scott Sellers training him on the pitch, is he? Is he picking the team? I don't get why he has the final say. It's ridiculous. Maybe that's why Felwell left. He'd had enough of it.
Jack?
Yeah, I hope it's not true because obviously it's just balmy, isn't it, really? That Bruno should be the decision maker, but I suppose that's what happens when it's the definition between the change in title, I think, between head coach and manager, isn't it? I think sometimes the decision making isn't necessarily sort of done for you. Sorry that I blanked out. I was just fact checking what someone said in the comments about the stadium ban, because Ian said it was because of the Euro final, not because of the Hungary thing. So I've just had a quick look, and the England-Italy game is behind closed doors, and that is because of the Euro final. So that is because of us. But the Hungary game is due to trouble at the Puskas Arena, so it's a Hungary thing rather than actually being our fault, that one. But both teams being banned for different games for different reasons. But so we were half right, half wrong, I'd say.
Be no fans anyway at this rate. One thing I do want to ask about, and it's happening more and more, and it pisses me off every time I see it, is kids at football with signs that they've made.
Stuff there.
There's kids at football that says, so and so, please, can I have your shirt? Do my head in. And it needs to stop, because all that happens is the parents then go put it on eBay and make about $2,500 off a match worn shirt.
Is that actually what's happening?
Yeah, some of these kids have just got like different players on each side, because there was a
there's a kid at Villa away.
That's it.
Villa away this year.
Did you have Cody on one side and then
Neves?
and never? Yeah.
And then they sold it on eBay for £20,000. No, I don't know.
I don't like it either. No, but at the same time, does it really kill them to give their shirt to a kid who wants it? But I'd be more inclined to give it to one who isn't begging for it, really. But the one thing that's really got me lately, and it's been a few instances of this, and you've seen it on TikTok and stuff, and on these things, is that where parents have let their little kids run on the pitch, like at the end of the game, to try and get a shirt. Now, have you seen that?
Yeah,
there's been a few things that it's happened. It's happened a few times where I can't remember which game it was. I can't remember if it was a Liverpool game.
Liverpool? I think it's Liverpool.
I think it might have been, and they let him run on the pitch, and obviously the security like, "What are you doing?" And then they obviously like apprehend him, and then they're trying to get sympathy, like, "Oh, they're really horrible to him after you ran on the pitch." Like, no, you police your child and tell him that it's not right to run on the pitch, even if you're after a shirt. And that's one thing that's really got to me. It's like, oh yeah, let them do this thing that's everyone knows you're not allowed to do, and then suddenly that we're the victims about it. Please give us some attention on social media. And it's just like,
are you sure the kid weren't trying to chain his neck to the post?
No. It was like a little kid. I can't remember the story. It was a few weeks ago, but basically, these parents allowed him to do it to try and get somebody's shirt and run up to him straight, like just as soon as the final whistle went.
Do you know what? It's like another the shirt thing you're on about. It's like a kind of another way of them people who hang around the players' entrance and get loads of shirts signed and sell them on. I think there's an actual Wolves page called like Wolves Memorabilia or something. They literally just stand outside the coach at Molineux and away games.
There's a time and a place.
Wait for all the players to sign it, and they're there every time, and then they just sell them all on eBay.
But there's time and a place. You know, you're not interrupting a game. You're not sort of getting in the way of anyone. You're sort of just doing it off your own bat. Ban kids.
Talking of a positive note, this is a great comment. That the river with Cody at the Everton, and I thought that Matinho video as well with the kid.
Yeah,
they played it. They played it at half time, so they do good stuff like that. Don't they?
That made Bayliss almost cry.
Did it?
He put it in the group and said, "Wow, this is."
Made me cry. I never couldn't believe it. I have cried last week.
You lost a fiver once, and I swear there was a solitary tear.
No, they are when the club do things like that, it's quality, isn't it? And I know they do a lot of stuff like that and don't even show it, do they? As well, so fair play to them.
I do also think that Conor Cody is a great bloke. Actually, top bloke. I know Harry used to slag him off all the time, but I think this season he's
when he's a bit too hard at times.
No, when I used to slag off his performances, I used to always start with, "He is a sound bloke." To be fair,
you did. You did. To be fair, you did.
You know what I mean? I did. I'd always say that because he is nice. Yeah. Like Tyrone Mings, apparently he's a nice. They're best mates, aren't they? But he just can't play football, unfortunately. maybe Cody passed on his voodoo to Mings for a season. Or something.
Yeah. Oh dear, excellent. Right. Okay. Well, we'll say goodbye for another week. We'll say goodbye to Harry Mansell.
See you, everyone.
Jack Williams.
Bye, guys.
And Dan Bayliss.
Goodbye, everybody.
And it is a goodbye from me.